Hello everybody, this is Paul from SP Film Viewers. Just wanted to do a little shout out to try and plug the Patreon. Yep, we've jumped on that bandwagon. Now, you might be wondering, what do you get for giving us money? Well, for the low price of £1 or $1.50 or wherever the conversion is, plus VAT, you get to show your support for the show. You get a nice little shout out at the end of every episode so that everybody who listens gets to know what a great person you are, and we'll also include your handles for any of the social media platforms you're on, whatever you like basically. Also, once a month you'll get the opportunity to pick a movie for me and Sophie to watch and review, so that you really feel like you're getting your value for money. And that's it. For the time being anyways. So head over to patreon.com/spfilmviewers, get involved, and thank you for being part of the community. Cheers.
Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of films.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
Happy Holidays.
No, Merry Christmas. I understand why you're saying it though, because obviously the films that we're covering, A, are both American based, and covering one American tradition.
I think saying Happy Holidays though kind of makes sense, but especially with the fact that how long Christmas seems to be dragged out these days.
And I think it's more
all the
politically
build-up,
correct
yeah.
because some people don't celebrate Christmas, but there is other holidays around Christmas like Diwali.
Hanukkah.
Thank you. That's the one I was like.
Yeah.
Why am I not?
Is Kwanzaa one or something? Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So there is other holidays.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know. I just feel like that's one of those cliche wordings, and it's just a bit cringe. That the Americans do, and to me, it's just Merry Christmas or Merry, or however else you want to say what holiday you want in to say.
Yeah, I know. Here in the UK, it's just Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas.
I feel like merry is the better word, because that's normally what us Brits will do. And getting merry.
Any excuse to have a drink.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, Christmas Day, you can have a drink at, like, for breakfast, yeah. Put it in your tea for all us Brits care.
I think it's the same with Americans, to be honest, or anybody. Yeah. Yeah, so obviously there was no episode last week.
I wonder whose fault that was.
Yeah, I do wonder.
I did lose my husband.
Nintendo's fault, yeah.
Oh, really? Not the person playing the game, but the person who created it.
Yeah. Too engrossed in the world.
Yeah, we haven't even been married a month, but I feel like you've been married to the game for like at least a week.
You're making it sound a lot worse than it is.
He's neglected me, I haven't seen him, he's not come out of his room. No,
not true.
It's not been that bad. He hasn't actually.
No.
But to be fair, we both got the same game.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you somebody's played on it a hell of a lot more than I have.
Yeah, but I feel like you'll actually finish this one this time.
Yeah. But you'll definitely finish it before me.
Yeah, no doubt. But, so in light of that fact, and we'd had Thanksgiving on Thursday, just gone.
We've actually been lucky enough to attend a Thanksgiving this year as well. So your close friend Alex and Shani, who just recently got engaged, invited us to have Thanksgiving at theirs.
Yep, that was really nice.
It was wonderful, but there was some weird food, but some really nice food as well. I forgot what it was called, with the marshmallows and sweet potato.
I don't know what the dish was called, yeah, but it was, that pretty much that, like, sweet potato yams with marshmallows, and I feel like there was something else mixed in it, almost like a chocolatey type thing or something.
I think it's just full of sugar.
Yeah. Me being Sweet Tooth really liked it. So.
Weirdo. Tried pumpkin pie for the first time. You did a knockout pecan pie.
Mm-hmm. Very proud of that. Yeah.
You were.
Say so myself.
I could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like your signature dish now.
Signature dessert. Yeah. Perhaps. Yeah, so we thought we'll also cover... This will be obviously the first Christmas movie we're covering this year. And I thought I'll throw in the fact that I kind of wanted to cover this... cover planes, trains and automobiles at some point this time. And the 4K of it came out recently, so I thought it was a good opportunity for you to see it, because you'd not seen it before. No. But I thought we'll just combine the two in this episode, because it's sort of similar kind of like comedy ones that we're covering this time, so I thought it'd be make sense to do so.
And as well, since we were lazy last weekend and didn't do a recording, I feel like we're giving the listeners, a double whammy of it. So
okay, so we'll just kind of, I guess, briefly go over what your thoughts were on planes, trains and automobiles.
I really enjoyed it. I did, to be fair. It's one of those, it feels like kind of a Christmas film in a sense, because it has the morals, it has the meanings, it has the reasons behind it. Obviously, you've got two really good lead characters within it.
Yeah, chemistry between them is great. Steve Martin and John Candy.
John Candy, bless his heart.
Yeah.
I mean, he has got a heart of gold. Like, I literally feel like that is him as a person. Like, whoever he plays, he is that person. You
could see him being that in real life, yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Persona, yeah.
And then obviously, I forgot his name again. What's
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin. Always grey-haired. Like, never seen him age.
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't think any film I've seen him is not had that,
And he's kind of... I've seen him in similar movies, and he's kind of that similar character. Like, always wants everything perfect. Like Father of the Bride being an example.
Yeah.
Very much a stress-head corporate, and lives his life by...
cynical, in a sense.
Yeah. But lives his life how everyone thinks you should. Mm-hmm. Whereas John Candy's character, he just lives a life to his fullest. He's nice to everybody. He's not wanting to be anything he's not. He sells shower curtain rings, and he's quite humble. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why you're kind of drawn more towards him.
It's the balance between the two of them, isn't it? Yeah, in that. And to the credit of, like, John Hughes, we've covered The Breakfast Club in a previous episode. And he also worked on Uncle Buck and Home Alone as well. So,
no one did.
So it's that kind of similar kind of comedy stylings, I suppose.
Yeah, there were some parts in it where I'm like, it wasn't as cringy as I thought it was going to be, which I'm grateful for with some of the humour, because you know me with humour, I can be a bit touch and go. Mm-hmm. There was certain parts where, like, obviously it was smoking in the car, he chucked it out the window, it went back into the back seat.
Yeah.
And it's like that awful moment where you're like, oh, when's this gonna
escalate?
Yeah. And you know something's gonna come out of it, and then they end up with the car kind of on fire. And yet still somehow manages to get them where they need to be going to the hotel. And it's like, that's a load of rubbish. And even after that, it's functionable. And it's like, there's no way that would even be real life.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have to try and be like, oh, it's meant to be funny.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just like, this is just nonsense.
Right, okay.
Because that would never happen.
I know it wouldn't. But, I mean, you wouldn't have... in a tight situation, you wouldn't be gripping the steering wheel, the dashboard so hard that you've got fingerprint marks in the car and bending it, the steering wheel. But it's just to add the comedy element of they were so shit scared that they just were clinging on for dear life, and it kind of like a comical touch on that.
Cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the fact that they were like in that bit in particular, where they're like the skeleton, like a bit like in Home Alone 2, where Marv gets shocked and he's that skeleton thing again. So it's like that, and also I don't quite get the when John Candy's like the devil, kind of kind of like laughing at Steve
I think
Martin.
it's probably because it's like he's bittersweet a little bit, isn't he? He's kind of one of those where it's always his fault, and that's why he looks like a devil character, but is angelic at the same time because he's so clumsy. He's not meaning to do anyone harm. But now you're saying Home Alone, I kind of see some of the humour within it. Because I love Home Alone. Like, I can't say I don't. Me and Fiona covered it on
Film Vloggers,
yeah, and I was passionate about it then. It was one of the best Christmas films. And the humour in that, like, normally it would grate on me, but it doesn't because it's nostalgia and it's brilliantly done and it is generally funny. And I think that's what this kind of does have. The humour is done
it's
really well.
The classic comedies of, like, well, the 80s, early 90s, I suppose, there's so much better than what...
good in the 90s.
Than what the humour of modern day films that are just can be very cringe, but it's similar to, as we'll get on to the National Lampoons, where that one, she's similar sort of humour.
I don't know.
So before we get into talking about that, then, is there anything else to sort of bring up about?
I would say
enjoyed
with this one, it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster. You kind of didn't know whose side to go on. You felt the frustration from Steve Martin's character, where he just wants to get home to his family. He doesn't want any inconvenience, and he just wants to be left alone.
Yeah.
But then you've got the lovable character of John.
Yep.
Where he's like a heart of gold, doesn't want to do anything bad by him. But at the same time, these two characters grow and they learn from one another. And I think that's the bit where it's touching, and you kind of hear how he speaks about his wife. You know, now I'm your wife.
Yeah.
You know, I expect that you should have, when you travel, a picture of me in a frame that you put out next to your bed now going forward, because that's what you do when you have a wife, apparently.
But it becomes more clarity on why that is more so at the back end of the film, which is obviously the very touching moment for...
I kind of like how it's done, though, because I was waiting. I knew, I kind of said to you, because the certain things he was saying, like his wife, either he wasn't together with his wife, or his wife had passed on.
Yeah.
And that's why he was like, oh yeah, I loved my wife, or I haven't been home for ages. And you could kind of get these clues that he was a bit of a loner, and that's why he chewed your ear off.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, I'm going to cry,
He did, he even said, like, when he's like, I don't have a home, and you're like, I'm going to start crying, and then it kind of cut to them walking with the suitcase, and you're like, okay, that's right.
Yeah, I'm okay now. That's fine. They're taking him home, and they're going to have Thanksgiving with him. I'm okay with that. But it just shows that Thanksgiving, Christmas, it's about spending time with family and friends and your loved ones. It doesn't matter who it is. Like, you can make your own family. And
like you say, like, all they bring up in the films, like, you know, kind of look back on this and laugh. You know, those scenarios, you always remember as bad as they are, the times that when you encountering them or taking them in at that point, these bad situations, you just wished you weren't in them, but then you look back at it and you go, I remember that time when this happens. That's
like
the worst.
I think that's the thing.
It's just funny, you just learn, you
get
past
always
it.
Remember the worst things, never the positive things. Like, I remember our trip to Edinburgh, like, the thing that stands out is the Loch Ness trip, and I know that everyone's like, oh, that sounds amazing, but it pissed it down the entire time. We were on a coach for most of the time, looking out a window that we couldn't see anything.
Yeah, rain on the grass where we got steamed up,
beside ourselves because we were so tired for being on a coach that we had whiskey ice cream and got into Edinburgh and were like, where are we going to eat at 9 o'clock at night?
Yeah, it's like all the places are going to be.
About it.
Yeah, but that's not to say obviously you don't remember good memories. We're not saying that the whole trip was rubbish apart from that. But obviously there's fun. You have to remember fond memories, but it's always go laugh about the bad ones and like, oh my god, can't believe that. Yeah. It's a funny story, anecdote stories.
You always remember them though more because they are more funnier.
Yeah,
I think that's it, and it does kind of like gel with you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what this film
gives. Yeah, and it also gives you one of the, like, I guess, the memorable quotes when it's like Steve Martin's character, which is he's called Neil Page, speaking to John Candy's Del Griffith. And he's like going off, oh, he never shut up, kind of thing, and yabba, whatever, all that cuss when they're in this hotel room. And he's like, you want to hurt me? Go ahead, hurt me. You're like, but, you know, people like me. My wife likes me. And that kind of memorable quote, and it's like, oh, you feel bad now, don't you?
Yeah.
Steve Martin.
Yeah, because he was a bit of a dick. Like,
yeah.
he went on, and then he carried on.
I know.
I was like, Jesus, okay, now you're being awful.
Yeah.
Like, literally just walk out, My mum always taught me, if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. And literally that was like, right, okay, you need to shut up now because you're just being awful.
Mm-hmm.
And you really felt for him, like you did. Like, he wasn't doing anything wrong at all. Like, he was just quite humble and a lovely character.
Yeah.
And I was rooting for him all the way, really.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, in the first watch of this, kind of took me by surprise that when it came up, the film came up and it said it was R rating, and thinking, why has it got the R rating? Because that's normally like, really like violent or kind of.
For all the effing and jeffing.
Yeah, because there's that moment when, well, I mean, you can understand because he's really pissed off. He gets abandoned at that car rental place, and he's like, the car's not here, or whatever, and he's traipsing across, I don't know how far, but he's really like worn out and like just,
But it's not going to get you anywhere.
No,
like effing and jeffing
going
at
like, fucking thing in your fucking face, and there's my fucking car, and it's like, oh my god.
I can imagine you doing that though. I can. Like, this is why sometimes I think I speak to people.
No, I don't think I would ever say it to someone's face like that, but I certainly did mention in the previous episode about like speaking to a computer that way or whatever.
You would.
Yeah, because again, that's not going to retaliate.
I think if you were that rattled, like if you got yourself that far head up in that situation, I can imagine you would snap.
Yeah.
And you normally don't, you're not horrible to a person, but if everything were going wrong, but I think it would.
Yeah, but just the amount of consecutive F-bombs thrown in there, it's kind of like, wow, okay. Yeah, you were not expecting it from something like a film like this. Kind of thing. You might get one. Film. Yeah. To a degree, yeah.
It is. You can put it in the background, your kids won't even, it's harmless. It's like Home Alone.
No, I don't think it'd be suitable for little ones to be...
The harmless
unless you just muted that part.
Yeah, it'd go over. Most of it would go over their heads.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Okay, so what would you score it?
So this one I actually did enjoy. It can't be like way up there, high, just because it can't.
Okay. Is it something that you could see like, not like every Thanksgiving? Obviously, we don't really celebrate Thanksgiving, but like
start to.
So like November time, kind of like something just put on.
It wouldn't be like Home Alone. Like every year, I want to watch Home Alone. Like it wouldn't be like that.
Okay, yeah, but one to come back to,
I think it'd be like every other year. I'd enjoy seeing it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The humour is great.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little bit, sometimes a bit too, for me, which Home Alone has that perfect. There isn't a moment where I cringe at all. Like, there was ones with the car, and then even being on the freeway the wrong way.
Yeah, that was the same kind of
Yeah,
point,
and it's like slowed. At that bit, it was a bit like,
okay.
going on a bit too long for me, and it's a bit like a Tom and Jerry sketch now, which is not bad on Tom and Jerry, but still, I think it's gonna be a 7.
Okay.
I enjoy the lightheartedness of the two characters together. Nearly made me cry, but then the comedy came back in again quite quickly. I think if it had given me a bit of a tearjerker and I felt more fuzzy and warm inside for a little bit longer, it would have maybe been an 8.
Okay.
But 7, it is. Are you disappointed?
Well, in 2 ways, yeah, I suppose, because
are you higher?
Well, yeah, I'm going to put it at an 8.
Generous.
I don't think so necessarily. Like it's not like 10 worthy or anything like that. But
never.
It's what I mean by that as well as because I thought you were going to put it at something like an 8 as well. So if you're saying a 7, and I don't know now, thinking like what you're going to give the next film we're going to be talking about, so I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, so that'd be interesting. But no, I think I do really, it's enjoyable for what it is. The chemistry between them is really good, and it's not laugh out loud all the time with this one. They get the frustrations with it, and you feel, even though he's a bit of a jerk, Steve Martin's character, but it's kind of deserved as well. But you also kind of feel for him at the same time, despite all what's going on and everything. But
you do.
It's just John Candy's just a lovable soul.
He is.
Are you tired of fanboy comics podcasts? Looking for a show that really appreciates the comics storytelling medium and how it works? A show that looks at comics from any genre and anywhere in the world, comparing the storytelling techniques of different creators in different comics cultures, with manga, newspaper strips, European comics, and more, discussed alongside mainstream US comics. A show that includes talks with well-known creators like James Robinson and Dan Jurgens, and with less famous creators that you really should know. And hey, we'll even critique your comic. If you're looking for that show, then you're looking for Deconstructing Comics, and it's right here at deconstructingcomics.com. Also available in iTunes and on Stitcher. This is Tim saying check out our show on Wednesdays. That's Deconstructing Comics.
Okay, so now we get down to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Woo! Well, first of all, let's just celebrate the fact that it's the 1st of December and
when this episode comes out, yeah.
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 And we've got a tree up and...
Way before. 1st
we're
of December.
Christmasing already. I feel like it's been long overdue Christmas. I feel like this is going to be the Christmas where everyone is able to get together properly. I know last year you kind of could, but I think it was... You could only see like 2 households or something like that. Whereas this year...
It's fair game, yeah.
Christmas is Christmas again. Life is normal.
Mm-hmm.
I know, obviously, in other places, I think China's gone back into lockdown. I do believe that.
Yeah.
So it is bittersweet in some areas. But for the UK, touch wood at the moment.
Yeah. But then we'll find out. Surprise!
Oh, yeah.
Another one
Maybe
coming.
January we'll be like, oh, you're locked down again.
Well.
But at the moment, it does feel like normal Christmas as it stands. And I feel like after 2 years, I even felt behind with Christmas. I was seeing people put decorations up before me and I was like, whoa, what's happening? Have I lost my touch? Like, normally I'm the 1st of December kind of girl, my tree will go up. I'm sure people were doing it the 15th of December. There were like things on Instagram and people posting trees and...
15th November, you mean?
Yeah, November, sorry.
Yeah.
That'll be your parents probably.
Yeah. Mid-December they'll start putting those up,
Yeah. Very exciting. So we've been kind of getting into the Christmas spirit a lot earlier, much to Paul's dismay. Literally, Halloween came, it went, and obviously you didn't get your Halloween month.
Halloween movie fix as such, yeah.
I'm sure you'll bite me in the bottom
next year,
and probably for this Christmas special somehow if you can. Yeah. You're not going to be nice to me, I'm sure. So, National Lampoons, what can we say about that?
Good opening animation, especially 4K looks nice, I've got to say.
Looks nice.
Yeah.
No, it did.
Yeah.
And weirdly, I don't know, we've both kind of seen this film. Yeah. I've done my typical Sophie thing where it's been on telly and I've watched bits here and there. I think we've watched it together once.
Yeah.
But yet again, I'm a goldfish brain.
Mm-hmm.
And...
You might have been in and out kind of thing. Perhaps. Yeah.
And to be fair, not much of it was retained.
Okay. Right.
Which maybe gives the listeners a bit of
insight into...
Yeah. Because... If I like something, it will stick with me.
Yeah. But I guess that's also the more times you see it, it kind of does it easier to remember scenes and like jokes and things.
So when did you first watch National Lampoons?
I guess the first time would have been, I think, when we're at the old house, and I think you and your sister and your mum were, I think you went away to like see an elf at something production or something.
Yes.
Was that in Blackpool?
It's like a little coach trip, to Blackpool.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, I think actually it was meant to be Manchester, but we got a hotel somehow with this coach trip in Blackpool, and it was the shitty little place. I'm sorry if it's still there, called Sunny Days.
Yeah.
Don't go.
Basically, long.
Do not
short,
go.
Don't go. Yeah, I think it must have been that because I know you weren't around. It was just me watching it for the first time.
Yeah. On your own, lonesome.
Yeah.
Makes me sound awful.
On a crappy like copy disc that your dad given us. We've got a whole stack of some of the films that we've got with Christmas stuff that are still things like, all right, some of these need upgrading considerably.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was one of them. So that was the first time.
Have you not seen it before then?
No, again, it's, like,
Wow.
like thing like one of the posters, the one where Clark Griswold is being shocked as he's dressed in a Santa suit, and the poster of that famous poster.
I'm actually surprised, to be fair, but I have introduced you to a lot of Christmas stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but we'll get as we're going through the notes.
Yeah.
To things that I've picked out really from that.
So it starts off with road rage, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And this reminds me of my dad so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if it's just a man thing where you just get rattled about silly little things. Like, I know people go, oh, woman drivers and all of that and the cliche about them. But we are more cautious. We are more, patient. Or someone cuts you up or tries to rev next to you. We're not going to give a crap.
No.
Whereas a man, it's like, oh, it's a race. We've got to compete. And it's your testosterone kind of getting the better of you. And my dad's the same. I was only little, and I remember this vividly, that this man, I don't know what this man was doing wrong. I think he wanted to overtake my dad. And then he eventually did. And then my dad got so annoyed that he got out of the car and started running after him. And I was like, what the hell? Why are you running after him? Wouldn't you be quicker in the car? You've just left your wife and kids in the car, running after another car. I just don't get it. And I think this is just the same scene for me where you wanting to have a nice family trip of going to collect your Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Which we all know is really exciting. It is.
If you're doing that, you go, especially a real life one.
And they are beautiful. We've done it plenty of times. In his old house, we used to always have real life trees, and they smelled delicious. And it was just that magical moment of picking that right tree. Not to the extent that the Griswold family do, though. But yet again, he ruins it, bless him, because somebody's trying to overtake him and speed up, and then he has to compete, and then they get him. Yeah. And it's why? Why do men do that?
I don't honestly know. Well, I mean, if people, I don't really like it when people are my ass with driving.
Yeah, you go faster, and I'm like, no.
I'm trying to get why you just keep your distance? Because
if we get a speeding ticket because somebody whipped your ass, then it's not fair.
I just don't like it when that happens. But I wouldn't go to the extent of right, I'm trying to get ahead of you now, just to annoy that person or anything like that. But again, just like a means of playing up for the comedic value of getting stuck underneath a truck and
this comedic value. So just kind of comparing. Trains, planes and automobiles compared to National Lampoons, there's a level of class of humour.
Okay.
And the National Lampoons to me, there is some bits where I'm like, do you have to be? It's how the hell did he get stuck underneath the wagon? And how did he get out?
Yes, he did. He kind of swerved out whoa, he went really, did almost like handbrake turn type of thing, and
just no, it's not real. It's just
I know it's not real. It's a film, and
I think with this one, it has certain things that more grate on me.
Okay,
picking the tree. First of all, normally you go to a farm,
Christmas tree farm,
yeah, or a garden centre or something like that, or even a supermarket has Christmas trees nowadays. You don't go in the middle of a field and just decide to cut one down. It's not how it works. You normally have to pay for somebody for a tree.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't just randomly go to the forest and just I'll just take that one. That's
probably somebody's grown it. You know, that's why it's there.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, have you got the saw?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm like, oh God." I get it. His heart's in the right place, and he wants Christmas. He's got the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
He has, and I can't fault him for that because I am that person.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a perfectionist.
Yeah, brought up multiple times throughout the film but again, I think that's part of what the film's about. Really, is you can try and make things perfect as possible. It's just not going to happen. There's just
life is not
exaggeration
perfect.
Of that. Yeah,
nobody is perfect, and the sooner that people realise that, the happier they will become.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I've had to learn that the hard way, but it doesn't matter as long as I got there in the end. So speaking of perfect, the couple that lives next door, oh God, aren't they awful? I know she's from Seinfeld.
Yeah, Elaine. Yeah.
And she's so much nicer as Elaine than, I don't even know what she's called in this, to be fair.
No, I can't remember actually.
I just put annoying neighbours. And they're just so snooty and like, they are your typical materialistic people. Like, are they not aware when they die, none of this comes with you? Sorry, Paul. I'm just pointing out
around the room and
all your stuff, all
material
this
stuff. Yeah,
literally, unless you want to get buried with it, like
like Tutankhamun.
Yeah. Then literally, it's all for nothing. It's just
there to enjoy while
for now. Yeah. And I think they are just they're awful, and the relationship they've got with one another is not even that strong. Like, I don't even know why they're a couple, really. Like,
yeah, I don't know. It's just the contrast between
the two.
But it works. Yeah.
It does work.
Yeah.
Because it gives you the good and the bad, basically,
yeah.
which is always what you need.
The humbugs,
yeah.
To that. I kind of like the gag with the whole when he gets the tree in the living room. I see that it's too big for things. It's like goes through the window and stuff, and he makes a comment, particularly that a lot of sap on this tree, and then it cuts to the next scene where they're in bed and he's trying to read a magazine and his hands are still really sticky.
Like, you were proper laughing at that, and I'm just sat there like deadpan, like.
It's like, oh. And then everything else, he's like trying to turn the light out and he's striking the light, and it's just.
My question was, have you not washed your hands? Like.
Yeah, but he's clearly like done it so much, but it's still like just really sticky. So it's kind of just carrying on from that.
You shouldn't have got a big tree.
Yeah.
Like, that's your problem.
Yeah.
I do think though this is bonkers, and it's something that I don't know. Everyone puts a lot of pressure on themselves around Christmas, and having both sides of the family up, like the thought of having my side up and your side up at ours. First of all, our house is not big enough.
No.
Second of all, there would be 3 dogs if we did that.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah.
And a cat.
Yeah.
And just, it's the trying to make everybody get along. It's that bit where Christmas is meant to be this nice day.
Yeah.
That everyone should get along. And to be fair, you can't manage that. You can't manage that expectation that everyone's going to be happy and enjoy themselves. But these parents, like, of the family,
Yep,
on both sides, they come over. It's not even like it's Christmas Eve, Paul.
No, it's almost like 2 weeks or something before.
I feel like it's a whole bloody month. Like, that would drive me insane. Like, I love my family, but I don't want to spend a whole month with you. By the time it comes to Christmas, I want to kill him.
We wouldn't be able to cope with, especially though with sleeping arrangements and stuff. It's like, how could you put up with that for that long? That's just ridiculous.
I do think it was quite funny because we did get A Wonderful Life on the television, and obviously we haven't said that Leonard from Big Bang Theory
Ross. Yeah.
is in there as well, and he's watching telly.
Yeah.
And I do think they're kind of trying to say that
sort of parallel with the Wonderful Life aspect in some regards, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he's trying so hard, and he just wants to please everybody and get everyone to have a wonderful Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all he's ever wanted, is a big family Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, because he's trying so hard, that's the issue. The problem.
Yeah. And so that when the parents are coming, there's like foreboding doorbell ring. It's like ding dong, and then there's ding dong. Like, oh right, oh god, it's
and they're already arguing.
Yeah, as they're outside the door, and it's,
I don't think I'd be surprised if any couple's parents on both sides got on like perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're just different. They've raised their kids differently. They are different people. Like, the thought of it would be just too much. I wouldn't ever want to host a Christmas that big.
No.
I love my family, but I like how we kind of were lucky because we've got like Christmas Eve, Boxing Day, doing it over those 3 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Seems more manageable than having everybody in your house. Like,
for
even like Home Alone, like even that amount of people just seems too much and causes arguments.
Yeah. Going away for holidays seems extreme anyway, really. But here we are. That's in relation to Home Alone anyway, really. Yeah. But what did you find I guess you might have found the when he's doing the in the shopping centre and he's like talking to that really like hot clerk.
I haven't even wrote anything about that down because obviously I really didn't like it. It felt like a little bit like a Love Actually scene initially.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
I could kind of see like the girl with the necklace kind of thing, like that kind of vibe, and then a little bit of the fact when he's trying to get the jewellery for her with Mr. Bean and that kind of thing. So I could obviously see that, and obviously Love Actually came after the fact.
Yes.
But I just felt like, this is not needed. Like, yeah, okay, I get that men want this young, pretty thing. He's married, he's got 2 children. You clearly loved her, or you wouldn't marry her. Stop Googling over something that's just younger and fitter.
I think it's just the flustered nature that he has with it. It's like, oh yeah, she's really hot kind of thing. It's like, that's why he keeps like tripping over his words and kind of like...
I just think it's pathetic. He's married, he's seen a naked woman, obviously, because he's had 2 children.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But it's just, again, just another means of having a joke that kind of sort of comes back later as well. So
yeah, it doesn't need to though. The bit that I can relate to within this film is the lights.
Yes, you do like your lights.
Don't go as
OTT. Stapling things to the beams.
Don't get me wrong. If I could have like what Martha May in The Grinch has, and she has that gun and she's like, and it did it for me, then yeah, I would do it.
Yeah, sadly it doesn't exist.
I'm not going up a ladder.
I'd put it on the roof.
Putting it on the roof. I'm not. First of all, electricity is way too expensive for that nowadays. And second of all, it's a danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danger to yourself, really.
And bless him, he's just yet again trying to make this perfect Christmas. And he's rushing, he's not wanting anyone to help him, and he's been really clumsy about it. He falls off the ladder. That humour's not too bad, where he's like staples himself to the house and he's stuck and it's okay. It's not cringy. It's kind of a bit of a chuckle in my tummy, but not like a absolute think it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. That leads to the part where on the guttering, the ice blocks crashes into next doors and there's like, oh, why is the floor wet when the thing's broken into? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And all that. But yeah, so he has like, 2,500 lights.
Mm-hmm.
Insisting on a drum roll. It's like, come on, there's a big build up to the thing, and it's like, it doesn't work. And so, did you check the bulbs, Ross? And it's like, imagine having to do that for every bulb. Like, I couldn't be bothered to go for that effort.
I guess, but then, to be fair, Christmas lights aren't what they used to be.
Yeah, just like anything.
Yeah, I sound so old lately.
Yeah.
Like,
the chocolate bars aren't as big as they used to be, and why we pay more for them. And
well, we do, we really do. Pringles have shot up.
Yeah,
like
price has gone up, but
but you're not getting half as much as what you used to do. But like with our lights, we've had to buy more this year just because some of them broke, and it's like I only had them 2 years, and I bought them off Amazon. Sorry, Amazon. And
don't be sorry for it's a second-hand third-party supplier.
Yeah,
it can't be
But it's like it shows quality over kind of the price that you pay. So we've had to buy
what you
some
pay for.
more this year. But you can't change a bulb in lights like you'd used to.
No,
like what's like a
almost costs
bulb?
as much as getting a new set. To be fair,
probably would do.
Yeah.
But
so specific, especially
the disappointing part where the lights don't come on. And everyone's just stood out there in the dressing gowns, waiting for the lights. And he's like, you can see it in his face. You do actually generally feel for him. Because he just wants to make Christmas special. But everything he touches just doesn't work.
Yeah. So everyone goes inside and he's still trying to test all the lights and come on, he's really a dog with a bone for this.
Yeah. That would be me though. I love my Christmas lights. I put them outside, I have them on my tree, I have them in my conservatory, I have them pretty much anywhere that you can hang them.
Mm-hmm.
I just think lights are Christmas. It makes it feel more magical.
Yeah, a light in the dark, essentially. Yeah.
I'm very poignant, Paul.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Then it cuts to the next day, which we'll get to shortly. Gets to what I thought was like one of the best surprising gags, especially the first time watching.
You still laughed this time.
Yeah. But I don't know. I kind of feel like you kind of cringed a little bit when obviously this is the point where Clark goes into the attic and hides some gifts. Like I don't know why he's hiding them in like the rafters of the thing.
God only knows. Because it's like he found one from Mother's Day or something that he hadn't given her. And I'm thinking,
like
part of me did wonder, is it for his mum or was it for his kids to give to his wife? Because if it was for his own mum, why the hell did he need to hide it in his attic?
Yeah, but he gets locked up there basically because his like mother-in-law or whatever is like, oh, why is this open? Is it cold in it? Oh, it's because the attic's open. He's like, it gets locked and everybody's then like going out to the shops or whatever, and his wife's like, oh, I'm sure Clark's in the house. And he's like, he'll follow, don't worry about it. And he's like, hey, let me out, kind of.
And you feel for him because he's planned a nice time shopping trip, going out for some food with his families, then he's shivering cold up in the attic.
Yeah. Now, the bit I'm talking about particularly with the whole bit, the plank bit, I'm thinking you're probably like, oh, roll your eyes type of things. Like, it doesn't go on for too long, to be fair. It could have, if it was probably a more modern day thing, be like, oh, let's just keep doing the same, doom back and forth for...
Still, and even, I know which bit you even laughed at, like the bit that proper made yourself wet, and I'm like, just, it's good, but it's not like I'm gonna absolutely howl with laughter like you did.
So the bit I'm referring to is when he's having to wrap himself up because he's like freezing cold and he's like rummaging through boxes and stuff, and he finds this like Xmas 1955 film reel. So it's like a nostalgic trip down memory lane.
I think that's sweet. I really do. Yeah. I wish I had a lot more of that when I was growing up.
Yeah, memories and stuff. Yeah. So he's sitting there, like the music's obviously background music, and the film is like he's got a tear in his eye, and then his wife. You can see the cuts to below. His wife's coming open the attic trapdoor, and he's for some reason sat on the trapdoor, and so he just immediately falls through. It just like caught me off guard. It's like, oh, that's brilliant, because he's just like, oh, he's so blissfully unaware in his own in the past, and then it just comes crashing down into reality. I think it's brilliant.
I'm looking at you now thinking, why the hell are you laughing? Just because you're replaying it in your head. Yeah. And the only reason why I want to laugh is because you think it's absolutely amazing. And I'm a bit like, what an idiot. Why did he sit on there?
I know.
Because
it's like...
clearly you knew that's where the door was. So, why would you? You'd sit further away. Like, what's the logic behind it? Like, anyone who has common sense would go, I'm not going to sit on there because that's literally what would happen.
Yeah. I mean, he already fell through the gaps in the beams in the... That's why you don't stand on those things. You have to stand between
And that's how we got into his, onto the... What are they called now? Double bed, not double... Bunker beds.
Yeah. He's crashed through.
Yeah. Did you ever have one of those when you were little?
No. Why would I have a bunk bed? I haven't got a sibling to share a room with at that point.
I had a bunk bed.
Sarah, you were 2 years apart, so you...
I think it was more... She wasn't underneath me. It was more I just had stuff underneath the bed. Like Louise.
Oh, like one of those beds where it's like a little desk and... tidy.
Just created more space.
Yeah, right.
Louise from Bob's Burgers, sorry. Just realised, no one would know what I'm on about.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was like the highlight of the humour. For me, especially the first time when it's still I was just thinking about it. Yeah, it's brilliant.
We have to love you, don't we?
Somebody has to.
Yeah. Sadly, it's me. So there's also another comedy kind of sketch value with the cellar light switch. So
yeah, it's like second attempt of checked all the bulbs and it's like it's got to work this time.
And they sit there and he plugs it in, nothing happens, and then he goes in. Checking to see what's happening, why is it not working, and I think one of the grandparents of them goes into the cellar, switches it off, and his wife's like, oh, it's working, And instead of like just standing there looking at it, being amazed and going to go get him, she's ends up not going to get him and she's shouting him. It's like, clearly he can't hear you, love.
Yeah.
Like, just go find him. And then they go off, obviously, because she turns the light switch off.
Yeah.
And it's kind of not a cringeworthy one, but you just kind of want them to get to it a bit quicker.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that, as an audience member, we kind of know, like, you're not where she is from her perspective, but he's standing. So it's like you kind of want to say, like, come out quick now and see, like, and don't mess with the switches because it's fine. But
it's like
it's that frustration. Yeah.
It's like it's behind you.
Yeah.
You know, literally, like, that's like what you want to do.
Yeah. But the lights, when they are on, they're so bright that they're blind next door kind of thing, and I guess it's kind of like, it's maybe over the top perhaps, but a little bit like, it's so bright, I can't see what I'm going, like, close the curtains or whatever.
But that was quite funny, actually, with the fact that then they close the curtains and then the light goes off and then it's too dark and then they're falling over everywhere. Because they're meant to be having, like, this nice romantic evening. Yeah. And it just goes all sour. Yeah. And then, to be fair, he just say to her, doesn't he, at the end, go kind of complain. Mm-hmm. That doesn't go... But why isn't the man of the next door neighbour doing that? Like, why is he sending his wife or girlfriend to do the dirty work?
But anyway, kind of, I think after a lot of angry shouting and annoyance from Clark, he kind of, like, destroys the Santa model and the reindeer and stuff, like, gets really pissed off with the plugs not working, and it kind of works itself out that his wife just gets the switch and she's... like, I know why that's not working, and it just works, and it's like, it's beautiful. And then after that, then that tender moments, it really, a tender moment with everyone, like, isn't this amazing, that, like, with all the family, and then it's where Cousin Eddie kind of just rocks up, and it's like, kind of like, isn't it nice, Eddie? And it's like, Eddie? What are you doing here?
You always have one of those, though, cousins or kind of relatives that you like. You kind of... They're just there. Doesn't mean you want them there. Yeah. For the family. So you can't shake them off. Mm-hmm. And they're a little bit of a leech.
That kind of way about them, yeah. Mm-hmm. Not as well off, so kind of being a sponge.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of shown. So initially, though, we were a bit scratching our heads of, was Eddie Clark's?
Yeah, I couldn't quite remember whose side of the family he's from, but it's...
wife's.
Yeah. I mean, either way, it wouldn't be like too confusing as to like why he might resent them, even if it was from his side of the family.
I felt like it was more his brother, and he was having to like do good by him.
Yeah, that kind of.
Yeah, that's what I thought initially. But then, to be honest, his wife is kind of justifying and sticking up for him a lot more than he is. Yeah. So it makes more sense. Like, that is her brother, because you are more protective over your own family. So going to sledging. I've never been sledging, and neither have you. No. So instead of building a snowman, we're going to go sledging this year or next year, whenever it decides to snow. But we're not going to do...
I'd rather it didn't, but...
We're not going to do sledging this way.
Putting some untested oil grease on essentially a bin lid or something.
Awful. It's just one of those things...
Totally exaggerated, obviously. Like rocket fuel.
Yeah. Just nightmarish, really.
What way?
The sledding and the fact that it went so far and the comical side of it all again. I switched off. I did. I was like...
No, I don't blame you on that part, because it's like, I don't... What that really offers as such.
It's meant to give you a laugh, isn't it? But sometimes it's not. So you kind of feel sorry for Clark, because he wants his family round, he wants his Christmas bonus, if some companies are lucky enough to do that. Like, some of them nowadays are, they don't really seem to do that as much, where a Christmas bonus comes around. And he's dreaming of buying his swimming pool.
Swimming pool, for his family. That's put, like, is like a big deposit down on it, so it's like he's very much relying on this bonus and stuff. And earlier in the film, it's like, the suits are walking down the in unison and everything. It's like, again, the boss man is kind of like, I don't know who, like, corporate must have sent you a Christmas card or whatever, and it's like, he doesn't know, like, who this person is that he's talking to, like, give me those reports type of thing, and that kind of thing. He's just a cog in a machine.
Numbers,
yeah. And so, when he's, I think it was 18th of December, I noted that down, like, it's like, giving his boss a gift, and he's like, just put it on the table with all the other ones, and he's, and he kind of cuts to, like, a shot where it's like, this boss man is, like, on this table, like, very far away from where Clark is, kind of like showing his distance, like, it's like, I've got a phone call coming in, he just picks up, like, get me anybody. And
it's awful, it just shows how people are so ungrateful.
Stuff, so it's funny. But I think you mean, obviously, like, when the scene where he's, like, dreaming of having the pool, and, like, when it's much nicer weather and everything, and the intrusion of Cousin Eddie in that scene as well, in this dream sequence. And then it cuts to that woman that he met in the shop the other day, and it's like...
In the red, like, Baywatch...
suit. Swimsuit, She's taking it off, wasn't she? Yeah, like a... come hither type of thing.
I was going to say, you're going to have to say something because no one's going to see what you just done there. Literally just kind of doing a seductive face with the finger, that's what it was. But, yeah, it wasn't needed. It could have been his wife, it could have just been a nostalgic kind of lovely family scene that he wanted, but no, we had to sexualise it, didn't we?
But I think, to the film's credit, I think it's parody.
Because it's letting somebody take some clothes off to the film's credit.
Hear me out. It's a parody of a sequence that happens in another film, where it's kind of like somebody's dreaming about a similar thing, where it's a woman's taking clothes, a swimsuit off in the pool, or diving in, and then coming out of the water topless kind of thing. So I think it's a play on that, really. But
what's the film?
Fast Times at Richmond High. I've seen it, but I feel like I didn't take much away from it, but it's probably one I'd have to see again and be like, I probably value it more now. I didn't care for much for it at the time, but it's like one of those another American comedy, high school type of
drama,
sort of.
So going back onto National Lampoons, I don't know what the little girl is called of not the daughter, but
I think I did write it down somewhere.
The one that you kind of feel sorry for.
Yeah.
If not, we can just call her little girl. So he's staring at the window and she thinks he's Santa. He gets startled because obviously he's waiting for this woman to drop her swimsuit. And then this little girl's like, Santa? And there's a line which does make me laugh. Like, so she's asking if Santa's real. Of course he is real. Like, don't ever question that. He is. And she's like saying, oh, Daddy said Santa's not real and he's not going to come to us. And you just get this kind of horrible sinking, like, okay, they are in a really desolate situation where they're telling, like, 7, maybe 8-year-olds that Santa's not real.
Yeah.
And then she's, like, saying, shitting bricks. And then he's like, oh, don't say that. And so she corrects herself and says, shitting rocks. And that actually made me laugh. It did. That one was like, okay.
The child's innocence there.
Yeah.
They're getting the wrong, or you shouldn't be saying that word, but it's the wrong word that you're getting.
I thought that was really cleverly done. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they seem to have another sit-down dinner before Christmas dinner. But we know that it's later on in December, so I don't know why they're having a turkey so soon, because I did wonder if it was Thanksgiving. But it's not.
No.
Unless it's like a trial turkey.
Yeah, it's like when Americans do like the wedding rehearsal for some reasons. It's like it's a stage production type of thing.
It kind of can be. It depends on how dramatic you get it. I don't know, I think we could have rehearsed maybe the standing up and doing is like repeating after us kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because we weren't great at that. And me not knowing which finger your ring finger was by the time that you gave it, because it threw me off when you passed me your hand for some reason.
But yeah, I don't know why they're having a meal ahead of Christmas dinner, but there we are.
And the turkey, oh my God. Well, bless him. He asks the little old Nan to like say grace. And then she sings the
I pledge allegiance to the flag. Yeah.
And you just can't get a break at all. You really can't, can Clark. He's just like, you see it all building up. He's trying to be really nicey. And then he's just like a fizzy bottle at the end that just pops. And everyone's like, what's wrong? Why are you being like this?
But he's also losing his patience earlier with obviously looking outside. His cousin Eddie, where he's doing the shoulder was full scene, there's a draining the sewage pipe into the... It's like,
you see that coming from a mile off, that's then going to be something. Well,
it just say, it's just dangerous, it's going into the storm drain. If you light a match, the thing will go up, and it's like, set up for a joke later on. Yeah. Good.
Which kind of works well with the match with the Christmas tree. To be fair, if someone burnt down my Christmas tree, I would be absolutely devastated.
Again, that was another setup with Snots, the dog, like drinking the water from that was at the base of the tree. It's like, if the tree doesn't get enough water, it's going to be dry. Yeah. So then it's obviously more flammable later on when the tree goes up in flames.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is where it gets a bit cringe for me.
I can see where you're coming from with that, because it's like the cat gets electrocuted
and dies.
It's like a cartoonish, like burnt out thing in the carpet, and this is.
And then the tree goes up in flames, and he looks a bit sinister. He reminds me of Scrooged. There's that scene.
The Bill Murray.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's when it goes up in flames, like, and he's just stood there, and I think it's like the driver or something when he first happens, and it's just a bit of a Scrooge kind of like vibe. And then obviously he goes and gets another tree. Yeah. Does Clark. Which then it's got a living squirrel in it.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm like, I'm done.
Tapped out, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit,
I can't handle this anymore, because now it's just becoming into that one of those. And I'm like,
yeah.
This is doing me, I didn't know.
I get that. See, that would annoy you. Yeah, because then the dog's like, let's chase the squirrel around the house and destroying everything.
Why didn't you do its job in its first place? Like, Sarah's Betty, which is a staff. You say the word, squirrel, she goes off on a rocker, and she will literally run after it.
Yeah.
This dog was delayed, like, the whole house was running around, screaming, and it's only a squirrel.
Yeah, no, you say that, but they have Lyme disease.
They do, but it wasn't causing...
I remember my brother he was in the park in Scarborough or something, and that occurs. I think he was filming. There's a little squirrel there, and it's coming up close, and then it started climbing his leg, and then he was like having a
absolute fit.
But like,
it's probably because he's so thin. Like his legs look like a tree trunk, like a branch, because he's that thin-legged. He's 6 foot odd, isn't he? So he looked like a tree to this squirrel.
Yeah,
was quite funny.
So there's that. And, I mean, they kind of see it, it's like a rat with a blue brush tail.
A lot cuter than a rat.
Still, I don't think if you had a squirrel in the house, you'd be like, look at a little squirrel.
I wouldn't want to harm it. I'd be like, squirrel! And then I'd probably try and put it in a box or something so that I could get it outside in one piece. Yeah. Not try and get a cloth over it and
bash it. Yeah, bash it on the head, yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't be my go-to idea.
No, absolutely not. But yeah, there's obviously a lot of scenes where like, this is like, how could things get any worse type of thing, and
then they do.
Ultimately, this guy comes with this like envelope that the check he's kind of been waiting on.
Yeah,
he thinks like, this is with the bonus that
I'm being... it just gets worse. Yeah, because like he's telling everybody, like, first of all, if you get a bonus, you don't tell everybody that you're going to get a big bonus until you know what you're getting.
Yeah. Don't be tooting.
And he's like, this is I'm gonna, and then telling him everything that he's gonna do, putting the swimming pool in, which now he can't afford.
Yeah, because we had to, almost sort of like be in debt before I even got the thing. It's like, I'm relying on this money to get to what I need, and then it's kind of like the envelope and looking at it, it's kind of like, and he's like pacing across the room. It's like I can't believe what I'm seeing here. Yeah, and it's just a voucher for like Jello the Month Club or something.
For the year, yeah. Free Jello.
Yeah. It's like, what the hell? Yeah.
Especially when you want God knows how much to put towards a swimming pool.
Yeah. So then he kind of flips out even more at that point, and it's just, yeah.
And his family from both sides, so his mum and dad, his in-laws, they all end up packing the bags and like, right, we're just going to call it quits. Basically, we're giving up. it's just not gone to plan. He's snapping at everybody. It's just not enjoyable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all going to go home and part ways before it's even become Christmas.
Yeah. But then Cousin Eddie's like, oh, because he overhears like Clark say, like, well, it takes it more to heart, like, oh, if you want someone to get a last minute Christmas gift, like, bring my boss here with a nice ribbon bow, and so I can give him a piece of my mind, basically. And so Eddie's like, right, okay, I'll go do that for him, because he's like for hospitality and stuff that he's given him. So it's like, I'll just do that, get them.
Yeah.
His boss, bring him over, and he can
kidnap him, basically.
Yeah.
And obviously the police come out as well.
Well, more than the police, it's like the fucking SWAT team, and
it's ridiculous. It's like he's only one man. It's not like he's the Prime Minister.
Yeah, I understand that if it was
or the
more...
Queen.
Yeah.
And break his house, so like he can. I guess this is like the moral of the story. Like, first of all, big corporate companies don't
just to say a quick
liberties.
book, like, just the little man is put down to that, they've got families of their own and stuff. It's like, stop thinking, oh, be high might in your tower. It's like, oh, I need that extra money for my Porsche or whatever, and all that kind of stuff.
Or just so that the bottom line looks better.
Yeah.
And that it's
in your
improved.
Accounts, yeah.
But then your morale of your staff's gone downhill.
Yeah. You need happy workers to keep your business afloat. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much the moral, isn't it? Don't be a Scrooge.
Yeah, and
Christmas
the boss says that the little people that can add 20% onto Clark's
whatever the bonus was last year. So that's
and he's doing it for everybody, and you can see that he didn't realise what the impact would be to not do this.
Yeah. And
it just shows like the moral of the story, really, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. It is. It's just humour elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And also the fact that the policemen have already just gone through all his windows and everything and smashed him. So you need a bit of a bigger check.
Yeah, to cover that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it ends with the whole, like, oh, there's the Christmas star, and it's like, oh, that's all that really matters at this point. It's like, well, yeah, but you've just gone through all that other stuff about the lights and stuff. You're saying that doesn't matter anymore, and the meal that you've had and stuff. It's a bit of like a two-sided way of looking about it, really. I feel like you said all this, you've gone through all this stuff, and maybe you've perhaps come to the realization that it's not all about having all that stuff, and it's just, like I say, being there with your family and stuff.
100%.
Yeah. So there we have it. First Christmas film covered.
Yay!
Yeah. But now I need to know how enjoyable it was on more like critical look at it.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I'm going to say already, I enjoyed Trains, Planes, Automobiles more.
Mm-hmm. Gathered that.
Humour-wise and just morally, the reason behind Christmas, or Thanksgiving, seemed more prominent within that film.
Yep.
With this film, I've not really got the attachment to it, so I know my mum really loves this as well, but I don't think it's something me and her have actually sat down together and always put on, so there's no nostalgia attachment to it.
Yeah.
But as we are critically reviewing a film, and on my perspective alone, it is cringeworthy humour. Some of it is just not enjoyable with that, because it's like, ugh. It's just that humour that I want to run away. It's just not, doesn't mean the fine line for me like Home Alone does, where it is just spot on humour and it is funny. Some of it is good, don't get me wrong. Some of the humour is there, but at the back end it gets worse.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like, it's just one thing after another. And I know it's trying to build that climax up, but it just gets to a point where it's like, this is ridiculous now, and it's just too much for me. I can see Clark as a Wonderful Life kind of character, like
George Bailey.
Yeah, and he is George, basically. He's Clark. He wants to get everybody happy, everyone together. He wants to kind of do his best, and he's striving for that. And I think it shows like if Clark wasn't there, then all of these people wouldn't be together. And that's what George has in A Wonderful Life. And I can kind of see that reflection of, well, if Clark wasn't there, then the Christmases would be a lot different.
Yeah, I suppose.
So, but obviously, It's a Wonderful Life is a 10.
Uh-huh.
This is knocked down because of the humour for me, and I can only give it for this watch at least, and like the same for the Trains and Planes and Automobiles. It's that if I watch it again, it might change my opinion. But for National Lampoons, it's going to be a 6. How do you feel about that? Are you hurt? Especially for a Christmas film.
I mean, all I can think of is like, as I see it, like in terms of like humour stuff, and I'm thinking, what you reckon is funny from, this is in quotation marks, from like Christmas of the Cranks.
I knew you were going to say that. I think with Christmas of the Cranks, it's got that more touching moral, brings me to it, and nostalgia.
Okay, so you've got that connection there, I suppose. Yeah, but
I think that's
I just think the humour in that is just.
It is a bit cringe, like with the hickory ham when it gets run over. I'm like, oh, for goodness sake!
Pretty poor.
It is.
And just not funny. Whereas there's a lot more chuckles I get out from this. Isn't my, like I say, sort of humour, that old school humour. It just works better for how they do it, and it's just the way it's done, as opposed to just trying to go overboard, silly with the humour, just totally exaggerating, screaming. Like, there's no need to, when people do that, like I'm thinking of like the hickory ham scene and that, but in
banging the floor because she
having a paddy, it's like no. So, I mean, for that attic scene alone, it's like it really tickles me and still does. So, it's still on the sort of same level as Planes, Trains and Automobiles. So that's an 8 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
High score tonight. You are.
Yeah. So
he is on the old fashioned, so maybe that's blurring his judgment. No,
I think it's something that's, I guess, come back to every so often. It's like a must watch this every year type of thing. I think it's like on off really every other thing to come back to, kind of mix it up a little bit, because you don't want to always see the same ones over and over again, but you try and get what you
only
can.
put your classics on over and over again, your favourites.
Yeah, your real favourites, but really enjoyable. Props to it looking good as well. It's like, so very much a step up from seeing it on that crappy disc.
Yeah.
So that helps the experience as well. So for a fresh coat of paint really helps as well. No.
Good.
No, first one done. Safe for Christmas.
Makes me sad.
Why?
We've only got like 3 more to go.
Well, there's only 4 weeks in a month.
I think we should start in November.
Well, we technically have, because when we're recording this is.
No, I mean earlier. The air in November.
No. Yeah. Well, we'll go to firstly thanking patrons. Firstly, Mark from 100 Things Learn from Film podcast, and Ben from Film Vloggers.
Yeah, it is lovely how you make relationships while doing podcasts.
Yeah,
I think that's the magical part about it, and the support. And then because you're going through the same things, you know how it feels grafting through podcasts. So really much appreciate you guys being on our Patreon. And if you want to subscribe and be on our Patreon, Paul will tell you what you need to do.
You go over to patreon.com/SP Film Viewers. It's all one word. And you can join our Patreon for as little as £1 British pound.
Or a quid, as we'd say in the UK.
Yeah. Or I think it was $1.50. But
extortionate.
And you can also have your name shouted out. So those two are very good podcasts and film related ones at that. So,
yeah. And to be fair, they are brilliant content on there as well. And we've guested on some of those, and they've guested on ours as well. And there's always, every time we join, there's a laugh in it.
Yeah, that's it. And also, you get the opportunity to vote on a film for us to watch once a month. I know we didn't do it this time round.
Yes, we're sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry about it. I did apologise to them on the Patreon page.
And
but
did they accept the apology? Or have they unsubscribed now and we've got no patrons?
No, not I can see.
That's all right then.
Yeah,
That's
still friends with us, but
we promise though next time.
we absolutely do
vote.
promise, and I can guarantee there's good options to.
I actually have swayed and thought to myself, should I become a Patreon of SP Film Viewers, and then I get to pick what we watch?
It's very counterproductive.
And then at least I can have a say and vote. But to be fair, Mark and Ben are going to go on your side anyway, so I'm outvoted.
Mm-hmm. So
unless I start making catfish pages of other people's, just so that I can get my say.
It's probably not worth the money.
No.
No, it's really not. So, all you have to do is, let's say, go to patreon.com/SP Film Viewers, and you can be part of the community as well.
Yeah.
Be very much appreciated. And what will also be appreciated is if you go to listen to some of our other episodes over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you might get your podcasts from.
So if you aren't already aware, we do have a TikTok page, Twitter, Instagram, where you can follow us on all socials, and Paul does brilliant postings of what's going to come up, voting polls, things that we've been up to in our lives.
Things I've bought.
So if you do want to follow us, all you've got to do is go to the handle SP_Film Viewers, and then you'll find us there.
That's right. And also, if you'd like to give us a 5-star review, you can do so over on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and wherever else they do the scoring system.
Since we always like to have lovely comments, especially when it comes to the end of the year, like you're closing that year off. It's been a good year this year, I think.
Yeah.
So I hope it has been for other people too.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Next time it is, I believe it's going to be the one that neither of us have seen before. And I don't know if you should reveal. No, keep it a surprise for the time.
Surprise.
Yeah, but you kind of know what
I already know by what you've just said, yes.
Yes, okay. Right, yeah.
And I'm excited.
Yeah.
It better be the one that I'm thinking of,
Yeah.
and not that other one.
I don't know what the other one I think is, so I'll have this discussion after.
Okay, well, it better be the one that I want.
Okay. Right, well, thank you very much for listening, and we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.